Good morning, everyone. We invite you to take a moment to enter into a space of rest, meditation, and quiet contemplation as we enter this service with the ringing of the gong and listening to the prelude. Good morning. Welcome to Olympia Brown Unitarian Universalist Church. Welcome to everyone here in person and everyone joining us online. I'm Patty Riemann. My pronouns are she, her, hers. It is good to be together in this co-created sacred space where all are welcome. How we experience or express gender is welcome here. Who we love, how we love is welcome and celebrated here. Where we are from, where we are in our journey is welcome here. Whether we come full of joy or whether our hearts are heavy, we are all welcome here. We are a part of a beloved community that is sacred because each of us is sacred. Each of us is always held in a larger love. Always.
Good morning. I am Reverend Darren Utley, pronouns he, him. Our chalice lighter this morning is Io. You can come at any time and light that chalice. The reading is from Reverend Scott Taylor, The Flame Arising from Us. We gather knowing that our light can't reconstitute itself. Without each other, a coldness sets in. Leaning on each other, trusting each other, helping each other fall back in love with life over and over again. Only from this does the flame emerge. Today may it rise again. The first hymn is 1031, Filled with Loving Kindness.
And now it's time for the message for all ages. So if all the children and those young at heart can come on forward. So today's story is The Blue House by Phoebe Wall. Leo lived with his dad in an old blue house next to a tall fir tree. The paint was peeling and the roof was mossy. There were leaks and creaks, and when the wind blew, the whole thing shook, but it was theirs. Leo loved the blue house in winter with its hiding places and cozy spaces. When the old heater broke, they would bake a pie just to warm up the kitchen. They would dance. Leo loved the blue house in the summer with its garden full of raspberries and tomatoes. He would play in the yard until the sun went down. Lately, there were all kinds of construction going on in the neighborhood. Big new apartments were going up next door and across the road. Leo would watch the backhoes and trucks out of his window. They looked like tiny toys. "I'm worried ours will be next," he heard his dad say on the phone one night. But Leo knew his dad was wrong. The blue house would be theirs forever. One day, Leo's dad picked him up from school, but instead of going home, they got ice cream and went to the beach. "I got a letter from the landlord today," Leo's dad said. "They've sold our house, and it's going to be torn down." "I'm sorry, Bud. We're going to have to move." Leo was angry. How could someone just take their house away? He kicked and screamed and locked himself in his room. They couldn't tear it down if he never came out. But Leo got hungry, and after a while went down for dinner. "I'm angry too," his dad said. So after they ate, they danced and stomped and raged together. They shredded on guitar, and Leo did a special scream solo. It made both of them a little less mad. Soon, the house began to fill up with boxes. Every day, another familiar object was packed away. When the blue house was empty, it was echoey and drafty like a hollow shell. "The walls look so naked," said Leo. "Let's paint on them," said his dad. It made both of them feel a little less sad. The new house felt empty too. It didn't feel like home. "I hate it," said Leo. "That's okay," said his dad. One day, Leo and his dad walked by the hole where the blue house had been. When they shut their eyes, they could see it clearly, hear every floorboard's creak and the drip of the faucets leak. But when they opened them again, their home was gone. That night, as Leo lay in bed staring at the empty walls of his new room, he had an idea. "What if we painted it?" Leo said. "Good thinking," said Dad. Then together they mixed the perfect shade of blue, and it made them both feel a little bit more at home. Little by little, familiar objects began to appear in the new house. After school one day, Leo and his dad baked a pie in the kitchen. And that night, they unpacked the stereo and danced and stomped and sang until it was time for bed. Leo had been right. The blue house would be theirs forever. And with each passing day, the new house was becoming theirs too. So now it's time for the message now it's time for the children's blessing. We are blessed. We are blessed by being here. We are blessed by being here together.
There are many ways each of us give to the life of our church, and our collection or monetary offering is just one of these ways. Each month, we partner with a local organization who's doing great work within our community, and our partner for the month of February is RIC, or the Racine Interfaith Coalition. The Racine Food Waste Composting Program is sponsored by RIC and the Racine Dominicans. The program began in 2024. The mission is to divert food waste from landfill and turn it into healthy compost. There are currently 2 collection sites with the possibility of a third. Total amount of food waste collected and recycled through 2025 is 20,978 pounds. This is equivalent to not driving 20,810 miles, or planting 138 trees, or not using 944 gallons of gasoline. The current cost is $30 per household annually. Funds raised will keep member costs low, help with promotion and education, allow additional sites, and keep the program sustainable. More information on how to give can be found in the back of your order of service or on our website, obuuc.org. Thank you, as always, for your generosity. And as our ushers gather your offerings today, we invite you to please sit quietly and enjoy our beautiful offertory music. part of being in community is sharing our joys and our sorrows with one another. When we gather, we bring with us the joys and sorrows that are on our hearts, and being here together reminds us that we do not carry them alone. Today, you're invited to come forward and share your joy or sorrow with the congregation at the microphone. Please keep your comments brief, and remember that this service is being recorded and broadcast online. You're invited to come forward now. Oops. I'll go first while people are walking. Come up, though. My name is Patty, and my pronouns are she, her. Y'all have been so kind as I've gone through this head trauma that happened December 3. I'm still on the mend. The dizziness is almost gone. I have daily pretty bad headaches, and I'm using a cane just because I'm kind of wobbly, but I am here today, so thank you for that.
Good morning. My name is Maria Scott. My pronouns are she, hers. My heart is filled with sadness today, and love and concern. My mom is well, but she had a fall over the weekend, and Andrea was in the house and was able to have an ambulance come. She's fractured some ribs, which is really, really painful. And the hospital the doctors are doing a good job of managing it, but it's still there. Her vision, her favorite color is yellow, and she sends it to all of our family or friends who are hurting. And she sees sunlight and warmth. And in your mind or prayer or thoughts, if you would see her in that light, she will be healed and nourished by it. My mother is healed from tragic things in the past, and she's remarkable in that ability. I do see her healing, but it's going to take a while. And we ask that there's not be any visiting. She's at Ascension in Racine, but it's pretty difficult with the pain. So send love and prayer, and call Patty or Joe for further help that we can use. So thank you, everybody. You've always been a source of great love and energy for my mother all these years. Lisa is also well. Lisa's remarkably well. And she had a surgery this week, and her energy, as Lisa is completely prepared for everything she does, utterly and completely. She left the hospital the same day and has such serenity. I don't ever feel serenity like that. And so it's just amazing. She is amazing me this week with her peacefulness. And now, even now, she's still able to keep that serenity. And she's just amazing. Yeah, so thank you for asking. Thank you, everybody.
Good morning, I'm Mary Beth Selke. I have two joys. One, that I was with Frank Edgerton Friday on his 90th birthday, and he's doing a little better, and his daughter flew in from California, and so we had a party at Elizabeth Residence in Oak Creek, and he felt glad. There were 8 people. Jerry Hirschberger came too. Many of you know Jerry, and that was thrilling. Rachel had to fly out this morning at 9, so she couldn't be here, but she wanted me to say that for everyone. My second joy is that Joe Cushing and I represent UU at the Racine Interfaith Coalition breakfast and at coffee hour. If you donate a little bit, since we don't have a minister, it has to be someone from the church that will have that. And Leanne's daughter volunteered to make the thing that's going to be raffled. So I hope that the four of us that are there can bid on it, but that you all donate money. And then if we win our, what I think she's going to make macaroons or something, then I'll bring it to the following week for coffee hour. One time when Tony Larson made a pie, it went for $400, and my Chinese student said, wow, I want to taste that $400 pie. So let's hope we get maybe at least $100 or whatever you can put in the thing, and it'll go for Rick. So thank you.
Good morning. I'm still so grateful for the opportunity that I had last Sunday that we celebrated, that they have had the name in the ceremony here, and just want to say thank you one more time. And it was so meaningful to me and felt like an integration, and there's still so much pent up grief and emotions, and I rewatched it and cried every single time. It's like, thank you so much.
If you would like to light a silent candle for a joy or sorrow on your heart, you're invited to come up now. We light one final candle for the joys and sorrows that remain in our hearts, and for those of our beloveds joining us online. There is a love holding us always. May we rest in that love. All are invited to join in singing, "There is a Love."
As you probably heard last week, the theme for this month is embodying resilience. And because I don't think far enough ahead to get announcements into whatever place I have to get them in order to give them to you later, I'm going to cheat a little bit and talk about two opportunities to think about and maybe support embodying resilience. One is this week here at the church in Erman Hall on Tuesday at noon. Pauline Mitchell is going to be here to talk about the Underground Railroad in Racine, and these are incredible stories of people who did everything that they could to remain resilient as they sought liberation. So please, if you're able, come. There's a lunch and then a talk, and then the next week on the 17th, we'll have a lunch and then do a tour of the church and talk about the history of the church as it relates to the Underground Railroad, abolition, and so on. So I encourage you in that. If the way is made clear and all the visas come in, I am going to Cuba in the middle of March, about the 20th, and in preparation for that, our church is holding a Cuban sandwich fundraiser. You get to eat sandwiches, basically, and you pay for them, but you guys are joining us in that as well, and so just want to say thank you for in advance for your support, and we usually take whatever they ask for, medicine sometimes, duct tape, just weird things that we don't, that we find readily available that are hard for them to get, and then, sometimes just financial resources. So helping them remain resilient in the face of, just continued belligerent, ugly, whatever we do. I forgot my... Okay, I have a concept for a talk that I thought was pretty good idea. Now, the execution of this concept remains to be determined, I will say. But I thought about this idea of embodying resilience, and just because I'm kind of steeped in certain traditions, because I had to go to school for a long time, to learn about them, I was thinking about the different concepts and practices of embodying resilience that come out of traditions that all can be located in a little sliver of land called Palestine, and how over generations these different practices kind of have evolved, and different concepts, but they all kind of take root in this one place. And on the front of the bulletin is just a picture from a scene from the movie No Other Land, if you've heard about that. So just that's kind of where that's from, in case you were wondering. All right, so again, okay. The concept is strong. So I want to start. Doesn't it sound like a good idea? Right? Like, ooh! Yeah, we'll see. So I want to start with this reading. It's from the prophet Isaiah in the Old Testament. It's from chapter 58. Real quickly, the people at this time, they've been taken out into exile, so everything that they knew, everything they understood as good and right, and the way that they should be living is pretty much destroyed. And they understand that if they had some kind of God that was able to protect them from stuff, they must have done something wrong, or they don't have that God, because it all went wrong. And they've been brought back to the land to try to start over again. And these texts come from the period after all the excitement about starting over again and realizing, man, these people are not that great. It's going to be harder to start over again than we really thought it was going to be. So this is a prophecy that happens as people, kind of directed to people worshiping who think they have their act together in this new setup, but maybe they don't. Shout out, do not hold back. Lift up your voice like a trumpet. Announce to my people their rebellion, to the house of Jacob their sins. Yet day after day they seek me and delight to know my ways, as if they were a nation that practiced righteousness and did not forsake the ordinance of their God. They ask me to make righteous judgments. They delight to draw near to God. Why do we fast but do not see? Why humble ourselves but you do not notice? Look, you serve your own interests on your fast day and oppress all your workers. Look, you fast only to quarrel and to fight and to strike with a wicked fist. Such fasting as you do today will not make your voice heard on high. Is such the fast that I choose, a day to humble oneself? Is it to bow down the head like a bulrush or to lie in sackcloth and ashes? Will you call this fast a day acceptable to the Lord? Is not this the fast that I choose, to loose the bonds of injustice, to undo the thongs of the yoke, to let the oppressed go free, and to break every yoke? Is it not to share your bread with the hungry and bring the homeless poor into your house? When you see the naked, to cover them, and not to hide yourself from your own kin? Then your light shall break forth like the dawn, and your healing shall spring up quickly. Your vindicator shall go before you. The glory of the Lord shall be your rear guard. Then you shall call, and the Lord will answer. You shall cry for help, and he will say, Here I am. There, in this text are these words that occur over and over again in Hebrew Bible, Old Testament, whatever you want to call it, in these scriptures. And it is the phrases righteousness and justice. And they kind of circle around and around throughout the whole text. And every time that they come up, it circles back to righteousness and justice being your God acts a certain way and calls you to do a certain thing, has entered into a relationship with you because wants to see the world look a certain way, wants certain things to happen. And that relationship, whenever God gives rain in due season and everything grows and you have land to live on and you have an abundance of everything, then that's God being righteous. Whenever you collect that stuff, share it with everyone, give the people, don't oppress the worker, don't let people run around naked who need clothing, then you are being righteous. And it's a relationship, a covenant that people form together. And over again, this idea of this relationship of the goodness of creation, the goodness of the earth is present. It calls on the people of the earth to tend it, to care for it, and to share it. And every time when the people mess up, pretty much they hear the same thing as we just heard. Look, you can bow and pray, you can, think you're great and do all this stuff, but I'm going to keep looking over here to the worker, the oppressed, and these people. And whenever I look over there, if they're in a miserable place, you all ain't got it together right, because there's enough here for everyone, and it's all been given to you. So get your act together. So this concept of righteousness and justice are tied together, and it even speaks in one prophet says, when the day comes that we actually live out what God is calling us to, righteousness and justice will kiss. They will come together. So in embodying resilience, part of it is what are we being resilient for? What are we holding on to? And it needs, this tradition from this land in this time period says, hold on to righteousness and justice. Look around. If you see that people are oppressed, naked, thirsty, hungry, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Do something about it. That's the principle. Then I want to leave you with a practice. So the practice that comes from this time period, which I think would be helpful for us to embody resilience, is something called lament. When the people got to a place when the world didn't look right, for whatever reason, they didn't always just look into themselves and say, what did we do wrong? They would say, I know the world is supposed to look a certain way. I know in my heart it's supposed to look in a certain way, and it's not looking that way, so I'm going to just, like the story, I'm going to do a scream solo. We're gonna let some things out because I know what it's supposed to look like, and it's not looking like that. I want to just read a few lines. This is a lament service about immigration, and it's just like a little prayer, just to give you a feel of what this might be like. So here's the lament. Our disappointments are countless, promises unfulfilled, hopes raised and dashed. On the shores of the Rio Grande and sweat-washed sands of the Gulf of Mexico, we turn to you and cry out, how long, O Lord, how long? The loss of life, unrealized human potential, dashed hopes and dreams haunt us. Haitian lives, Mexican lives, Central American lives, Asian lives, Afghan lives, African lives, and more. Countless threats driving them to flee, only to be turned away by the empty promise of a silent Lady Liberty. We turn to you and cry out, how long, O Lord, how long? Apathy, indifference, hatred tearing at fragile spirits, 20 generations of disregard for the dignity and sanctity of brown lives, black lives, indigenous lives, Asian lives, people of color versus whitewashed minds and hearts. We turn to you and cry out, how long, how long? It's just a flavor. Sometimes when things are not the way they're supposed to be, we just have to scream. We just have to yell. We just have to say, how long? How long will it be this way? All right. Flash forward 1,000 years or so. The next piece comes from the Christian tradition, which takes root in the same land, and I want to read just the opening little line. I'm not going to read too much more, so don't get scared. I'm just going to read the opening little line of the book of Revelation. I was waiting to hear the fear. So this is the story is, right? This is a man named John. He's a disciple of Jesus. He's out in the world, trying to talk about all of the things that Jesus wanted people to talk about and to get people to do all the things that Jesus wanted people to do, which is pretty much in line with what we just read in Isaiah, if summary. But he ends up getting arrested, is the story, and he's put on this island, and he's on this island kind of under house arrest, and he speaks this, he has this revelation. And it starts this way: the revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave to him to show his servants what must soon take place. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I forgot. I was going back further. I'm going further down. Verse 9. I, John, your brother, who share with you in Jesus the persecution and the kingdom and the patient endurance, was on the island called Patmos because of the word of God and the testimony of Jesus, as his rationale for where he is. Now, did you hear the word endurance in there? There's a word endurance. Now, throughout Christian tradition, to keep us to keep us quiet and meek, they translated this Greek word to be patient endurance or endurance, which has a very passive kind of feel to it, and it's like, hey, whatever happens to you, suck it up, just take it. I want to read those same lines from a translation by one of my seminary professors. His name is Brian Blunt. It says this: I, John, your brother and colleague in the persecution and the reign and the nonviolent resistance in Jesus, was on the island of Patmos because of the word of God, which is the testimony proclaimed by Jesus. You hear the difference? In the real tradition that was passed down from Jesus through to John, the watchword was this endurance, but what it really meant was resistance against what the empire was telling you is good and right, and to do what Jesus told you was good and right, which again matches what the other thing was saying before about the feeding the hungry. You get it. So to embody resilience as these little communities that saw themselves as the ones who needed to have compassion and care for all the people around them that no one else in the empire was caring about or thinking about. It took this resistance. It took a constant resistance to all that was being put their way. Because the world was telling them they meant nothing, and most of the people that they were around them that they cared about didn't mean anything either. Obey was basically the rule. Obey or the army's coming. Obey or ICE is coming, right? Obey. So they practiced this resistance/endurance. And that was the principle. The practice is what they call, what is said in there where it says the testimony. What they did was they witnessed. They witnessed. They stood. They witnessed. Wherever they went, they witnessed to who they knew that they were supposed to be. That was their practice. That was what they were called to. You witness. The word in Greek is actually martus, where we get the word martyr, because sometimes when you witness to this thing that the empire doesn't like, you end up dead. You practice nonviolent resistance. You witness to the world that you know is supposed to be. I better wrap it up. Finally, in Palestine today, among the people of the land, there's a concept called samud, and it means steadfastness. And it basically means just digging your feet into the land where you are from and that you belong to, and remaining steadfast and saying, whatever happens, I'm not moving from this place that I belong to. And people talk about samud in the simplest terms, like when someone cuts down an olive tree, you plant another olive tree. When you build a house, even though you know that they might come with a bulldozer the next day and bulldoze the house over. But you say to the world, I'm going to remain. I'm going to stay. It sounds simple, but one of the watchwords of Subud is just, we must go on living. We must go on living. It sounds simple to us, but in a world that is trying to kill all of you, all of the time, just saying, we must go on living. Steadfastness. Now, the part of this that's hard for us, and I only have like negative 5 minutes to tell you about it. So, that's going to be hard. But we have been raised to understand the places where we, plant our gardens, the places where we, walk along the grass. We understand those things as property. They're our property. Someday we might sell them for a profit, or someday we'll pass that along to our kids as wealth for them. But to practice righteousness and justice, to practice nonviolent resistance in this way, to practice samud, we have to get closer to a place where we understand the places where we walk and live, the places where we plant our gardens, the places where we get our food from, is the land that we belong to. And maybe, if we get there someday, that the land that doesn't belong to us. But it's where we have been placed to put our feet on the ground. It's where we've been placed to plant the things that will grow. It's where we gather as community to look out and say, is there a hungry person over there? Is there a thirsty person over there? Is there a person that needs a coat? Are the workers being oppressed? Because we know that's not right. And we know that righteousness and justice has been planted inside of us. We know that resistance is something that we can do. And we know that we can be steadfast when we need to be. Because there are the workers being oppressed. There are the people that are hungry. There are the people that are thirsty. There are the people who are afraid of who's coming and knocking on their door. Let us be people of this long, long tradition. The people of that land granted to us. They invite us into it. For our sakes and for theirs as well. Amen. I think we're going to sing a song. Let's sing 1008. Why not? The chalice extinguishing comes from Rebecca Savage, May Resilience Cascade. We have blessed each other with word and song. We have embraced the greater truth of our resilience, one that is terrifying to systems that would keep us isolated, afraid, and angry. For when we come together, we remember who we are and whose we are. We are a living tradition of people who love fiercely, serve mightily, and journey humbly with the spirit of life. May we depart in peace. May we depart as beloveds held together in spiritual community. Wherever we are, wherever we go, may resilience cascade within us until we are together again.
I'm Gregory Mason. It's time for some announcements, and we'll start with Stephen Lyon, followed by Joyce Firebaugh, and then Diane Lane.
Good morning. My name is Stephen Lyon. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees, and I have an update on our developmental ministry search. The Ministerial Search Committee, which consists of Dave Wilkinson, Christina Mondragon, myself, and Mary Graham. The Ministerial Search Committee is pleased to share an update on our developmental ministry search. We have recently updated our congregational information and officially launched the 2026 Developmental Minister Search with the Unitarian Universalist Association, or UUA. At this time, congregations across the country are entering their profiles into the UUA system. Encouragingly, for the first time in several years, there appear to be more ministers seeking positions than congregations seeking ministers. While this does not guarantee a match for OBUUC, it does improve our odds. The search process moves thoughtfully and at a measured pace. Ministers review the information we have provided about our congregation and then decide whether they would like to apply to work with us. Once a minister applies, the search committee conducts interviews with the candidate. If both the candidate and the congregation agree that there will be a good mutual fit, a contract is negotiated and brought to the board for approval. Because this position is for a contract developmental minister rather than a called minister, a congregational vote is not required. If the search is successful, we anticipate that our new developmental minister would begin at the end of the summer in time for the 2026-2027 church year. We are grateful for the congregation's continued patience, support, and trust as we move through this important process together. More updates will be shared as the search progresses. And I'd also like to thank all the former members of the search committee for their hard work. If you have any questions, you can talk to me at coffee hour.
Hi, I'm Joyce Firebaugh speaking for Ruth Bradford Johnson. She decided to dump this with me. Anyway, Pastor Darren talked about the Cuban sandwich luncheon, which is March 15th. Put it on your calendar. We want to make it a social affair. And I know there's a lot of plant-based eaters in this congregation that say, oh, I can't come because there's a lot of meat in Cuban sandwiches. Well, bring your own bring a dish then that you could eat and share with us. Okay, there's 2 sign-up sheets, and they'll be on the table in the coffee room where you have your snacks today, because I couldn't find a stand to put them on. Thank you. Anyway, the first one is to sign up by March 1st if you want a Cuban sandwich. $10 minimum, but we're asking you'd love to have you pay more if you'd like to. Now, they're huge sandwiches. You could easily split one in half. If you have a family, you don't want to spend $60 on sandwiches. You can split them in half, and there'll be plenty. Now, this is to sign up by March 1st if you want a Cuban sandwich. Okay. And this goes to your project in Cuba. Are you going to take the money with you? Pay for your trip, huh? Okay. Then the other sign-up sheet that will be on the coffee table is sign up for salads, fruit, cookies, chips, and snacks. If you would like to donate for that, that'll be very helpful. And that you don't have to get your sign up there until March 10th or whatever. Okay. Sign up, please. And we want to make it a social event. We talk a lot. I'm with Joe on this membership thing that we want to have more social events with the people, and this is a wonderful opportunity. We're going to be downstairs. We'll have plenty of room, and we'd love to see all ages down there on March 15th. I won't be there. I'll be in Florida. I'm sorry. Hey, Diane.
Hi, Diane Lang. I just want to remind you, those of you that read the Unifier have all the details, but some of you don't read the Unifier. So I'm going to share the details one more time. Next Friday, the Generosity and Engagement Ministry, the GEM team, is going to be partnering with our religious education lifespan people. And we're having a multi-generational fun evening to play games, eat dessert, make the fanciest type of cup of hot chocolate you can imagine, and we're just going to have fun together. So next Friday, 6:30 to 8:30, there's going to be children there, there's going to be grandpas and grandmas there, and everything in between. Please come.
Next Sunday is the deadline for paper raise right orders, so if you need a form, see me. February 22 is the deadline to get news and events into the church office for the March Unifier for a planned March 2nd delivery. We received a thank you from the Mission and Deacons Committees of First Presbyterian Church for our participation in the Julian School Toy Drive and Aldi gift cards for families. Due in part to our participation, they were able to almost double the amount of gift cards, which were very much appreciated. If you need to reference the monthly unifier, there's a link in each Sunday's email that will take you to it. Be sure to check your monthly and weekly emails for more information on some of these announcements, along with community events and other news that are not announced here in church. Thank you to our volunteers today, our ushers, Joe Cushing and Pamela Smiley, our coffee hour hosts, Wendy McKelvey and Rachel Trobaugh, our Zoom host, Mary Graham, our cell phone monitor, Jen Simpkins. That's all for announcements. Please join us for coffee hour in Erman Hall. If you are watching on YouTube, log into Zoom for your coffee hour.